Here we go. So I'm going to do the usual thing of a wash with a brush, right? So on this 12-inch by 16-inch canvas, so bigger than normal, which is why the configuration on the video is different. Okay, and in the spirit of exploration, you know, I haven't really done much of this either. Very, very little, in fact. So, and I hope my easel is big enough to support this thing when I start applying the knife, because it's it's flexing a lot at the moment. Make sure you're all muted though. I can hear some extraneous noises. That's it. Great. All right. I think that will do, and I'll tamp it down using this sterile rag. Right. So yes, drawing as well. And I'm actually going to use this same. This is about, it's over an inch, this brush, if you can see it there against the palette. I'm going to do my drawing in there because I don't want to get into details. This is I think the whole trick of the thing. Right, so I'm just going to do that with burnt umber. And let's measure first. Usual thing. What am I dealing with? Okay, that's the kind of height. It's just as wide as it's high. Fits into a square. All right, so let's, I don't think I want it to come out any further than that. Okay, so I'm governed by the width in this case because we've got plenty of height, but we're limited on the width. So I can do that. And I'll say give it more above it than below it. About that. Is that the same? Looks different. Oh, it's roughly the same. Okay. There, so this is the usual thing. I'm going to sight it in the center of the board there. And the general shape is kind of down here. I'll give that a bit of an angle there. It's an angle there like that. So look, we'll put in that there. These are really sort of broad strokes for a drawing, I think. Like that. Just kind of, there's a kind of profusion of kind of leaves around there. Flower heads, yellow. Orange. More orange there, and comes up across here. I think I'll exceed my my boundary there. It comes out there. Nice bright orange. There, yellow there, meeting up with that yellow here, which should be perhaps a little lower. Okay. I'm just wondering, is this going to be a lot quicker than painting with a brush? I would expect it would be. And then white there like that. And that last bloom off to the right, I'm going to bring it in slightly just to keep it kind of cohesive with the rest of the thing. There's that there. There's a yellow here. That comes up higher. That's night-scented stock, obviously. I'm just wondering, is that enough of a drawing for me? Ooh, horizon is kind of like across there. Right. Okay. I think the thing to do would be to do the flower heads first in a kind of a yeah, why not? Look, shag it. We'll sort of do the thing the way we mean to go on. Right. So I'll start with the yellows first. Okay. I'm going to grab a bit of yellow, stick it to one side, and it's a bit paler than the the yellow. Oh, I suppose I should also sort of see where the brightest bright is and the darkest dark. That's another thing. So I think the brightest bright is that point there on that yellow rose, and maybe just there on that yellow rose there. They're the brightest brights, because the light you can't see it. It's just off camera, just to the left of that orange bloom here and in front. Okay, so so that's the brightest bright. Maybe that's what I'll do first of all. Okay, I was going to make that yellow, wasn't I? So going to make I'll put a bit of cadmium yellow pale hue there, and some white. Oh, just show you the knife that I'm using. You see the size compared to my hand. Okay, and it's quite flexible. You can get these lots of places. They're I think they're really reasonably priced. Gets packs of them as well. I think you can even get them in Mr. Price sometimes. A shadow version of that. So I'm going to put in a little bit of blue. See what I get for a shadow. And a little bit of red in there. I can see myself getting through a lot of paint using this method. All right, so here we go. Let's have a look. You said that that's yellow there. Putting in shadows there. Shadow there. It's much like what I normally do, except you've much less control, much less sort of ability to get down into detail. Okay, and put in some of the yellow. More yellow there. That's a warmer yellow, but we get round to that eventually. Right. Let's get some of the orange in. So those orange roses. So let's get some cadmium red light. Let's make the brightest version of it first and put some yellow into that. Put that in first. And you do get a lot of texture, for sure. Now there's that same color in darkness, so a little bit of blue. Take some aside. Put a bit of blue into it. Ultramarine blue. I automatically go for some bit of terps there, but in fact, it's not that easy to pick up on a knife. There, 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 and the side of that one there, and this one over here, which is quite dark indeed. Okay, so now I'm missing one at the back here. And the stock, and as we know that white is not white, we'll take up some white, and it needs to be a bit darker than that that high spot there. So let's put in a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, because we know black to work with, to make a shadow. We just want to bring that tone down a little bit, but it's slightly bluer than. cooler. I have it. Yeah, okay, maybe something like that. And then there's darker parts in shadow. Bit of blue, bit of red, bit of green. Just to make some shadowed areas. Okay, and that would be something along there, there, up there, across there, down underneath that one there, a bit in there. And then the light part, okay, so we've got some stock there. Now, I want to get in some darks for the greens. So, sap green, lots of it, some blue, and some red. Can I get a bit of turbs in there to make it move a bit? Is that dark? Yeah, it's pretty dark. Okay, so all that part there is very dark. And across there, the meniscus of the water. Up there. There. And all that down there, there's a dark coming down there. And this is, remember I always talk about sort of making a mosaic. This is like making a mosaic with a bricklayer's trowel instead of a, you know, a small tiny pieces of stone. Okay. Maybe up in here as well. Dark. Now there's lighter greens. So I'm going to get a little bit of yellow ochre, I think. Mix that up. Make a bit of a brighter green with that cadmium yellow pale hue. I've got enough there. All right, plenty of paint there. Let's put that in. Strokes up there, there. Down there, in there, in there. Where else can I see it? Down there like that. Right. Okay, let's put in a background, ultramarine. Yes, it looks like you use a lot more paint. Bit of white into that. predominantly that, I think, something like that, with a little bit of maybe a bit of red into it. All right, let's put that in. It's easy to get up some oil. Right, and that starts in there. This is still the same as ever. It's the blocking in stage. I'm sort of gathering it up on the underside of the knife and dragging it across, angling the knife so that it actually leaves some of the paint onto the surface. And down here it's darker, so I might make that a darker mix for there. And get the it's noisier than painting as well. Now let's get a bit of a darker. A darker version of that. Ultramarine blue. Put a bit of green into it, a bit of red into it. That'll make it darker. Put a little drop of terps into it. Enough there. Maybe more. Look, I'm almost down to the end of the blue as it is. The yellow's almost all gone. Okay, but it's a nice buttery feel to it. That part is very pleasant. That's all dark there. Okay, down there it's not so dark. And there's no refraction in there going on. Okay, I'm going to put in an indication of the edge of that glass because I don't want to lose it. Okay, that's done there. Okay, foreground. What I can do for the foreground. I do need some more blue. Let's get some more. Squeeze a bit more out into there. I'm not going to make it as dark and as cold as it looks there. So maybe blue, bit of yellow ochre, bit of red in there, bit of white, or yellow ochre. Put a little bit of terps in that. Shape that glass. It goes darker as it comes around there, so a bit redder actually. A bit warmer as it goes to the left underneath the warm light. Darker and bluer over here. Grab some of that from next door. Put a bit more dark in that there. Is that dark enough? The whole thing almost completely full now. Now, let's continue with the flower. I'm going to wipe my palette knife down. I'm going to try and get some brighter yellow. I need some more yellow. Yeah, put a bit of white into it. The paint really is going on thickly there. Yeah. Oh, I was going to make that warmer, wasn't I? So I'm going to put a bit of red into that. I was using the tip of the thing there. That's the flower going up there. Right, make sure I get some of the shadowed parts in there as well. No, I don't want green. One there, one up there like that. There is quite a lot of paint going on each time. You know, there it kind of ramps up towards the edges. Okay. Now, the other flowers here, for example, I've got it here, but the darks aren't dark enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue into that. Make sure it still looks like a red, but dark. And maybe that would go in there like that, down there like that, and across there, in there. And this one's dark on the, away from the light as well. Okay. You're kind of like leaving paint on rather than sort of dabbing it. The paint builds up on the edge of the blade. And you just kind of put it onto the palette, onto the canvas. Dark there. Dark in there. This one's dark down there like that. it does teach you a lot about sort of how to use your brush without going too far into details. That's what's good about this. I like that. Right. There's a kind of there's a blush on these sort of these ones here. So there's a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow into that lighter part, a bit more white. So a light, warm, kind of light pink. There. And in there. You just can't become too accurate with this. It's quite extraordinary. A bit more white, I think. Could be a little bit lighter. And here as well, of course. And here. See sort of little notes, you can put them in there like that. Right, some dark background. I want to shape these a little bit. Just as usual, what I'm hoping for, what I expect to happen, is that even if you get it kind of, I don't know, if it goes a little bit wrong, you can sort of, because the paint is so, how do you say, sort of thickly applied, I think that you can get away with a bit on the final parts of the painting of just putting paint over the top of other paint. It's going to take a month of Sundays to dry as well, this, because there's so much paint on it. Right. That one there. Comes into there. That should be darker actually. But into there. Into there. Let's shape some of this stuff here. See a little bit of lightness coming in there. Oh, in here, that needs to be shaped as well. And around the stock, give it a little bit of shape there. Quite interesting, actually. Right. Oh, got quite a lot of information in there. I need to do that bit there, don't I? Now, there's a bit of the background reflecting in here. So I can put that in there. And around here, it's lighter and grayer, but it's the same in the same parish, tone-wise. Oh, sorry, color-wise, I should say. Put that in there like that. And then up here, it goes warm. So white, bit of yellow, bit of red. Give me a nice sort of goldenish, but it is slightly grey, so we'll put a bit of blue into it. And that can go up here, like that. And then down here, it's kind of more like that. All right, so now some lighter leaves. Bit of white, a bit more white, a bit more yellow ochre, I think. I should give myself plenty of paint, shouldn't I? I'm mixing for palette knife the same way as I would for brushes. And okay, so there's some nice light leaves. A bit of bluer in that, I think. Okay, so we needn't be sort of too, how do you say, pernickety about this. A stroke like that. A stroke like that. One coming up there. We've got a confusion of tones in here. We don't need to be accurate. There like that. One there. And down here. Okay. Down here they go a little bit bluer as a green. So I'm just going to make sure I've got something in there that looks more blue as a green, if you see what I mean. Anything in here? That's supposed to just look like a confusion there. Now I want to cut that side back in a little bit. I think it's looking a little bit sort of uncomfortable there. Make up that dark. And back to the flowers, I think. Hang on, let me just shape some of this a bit more. I mean, you will see, obviously, that it's not an accurate representation of the exact places of the flowers, but that doesn't really matter too much because it's the painting that counts, isn't it? So, right. So, there's some maybe some little shadowy and bright. Do you know what I do want? I would like to have some alizarin crimson, which I haven't put on the palette, but it would be useful. I hadn't been in such a tiz this morning. I would put it out, put it there beside with the reds. There. Oops. And this way you can get sort of nice, sort of rich reds by mixing in cadmium and alizarin. You know, rich, deep reds. And you can see some of those in in places in these flowers. Still not being super accurate here. In there, around there. That one coming up there like that. A petal sort of coming out in that kind of random way there. And see down here, there's some little rich red. And this one coming down there like that. In there. It's quite structural. It's a structural way of painting. I put paint all over the arm of my chair. Where did that come from? Anyway, so now get some more alizarin crimson. Where else can I see that? Maybe down the side of that flower there. The thing about roses is that they have a kind of a Fibonacci sequence structure to them as well. It's everything goes round in sort of that way, inwards or outwards, whatever way you're thinking about it. So now there's some nice bright oranges. We'll put some yellow into, or cadmium yellow, pale hue into that. Cadmium pale, cadmium red light, I should say. Get some of that. And put in some of those. It actually makes the things, the flowers kind of come off the canvas. I mean, in reality, it's not just the sort of way it looks. God knows when this is going to be dry. I'm telling you, it'll be months and months and months. A bit at the back there. And there. That's an interesting thing. I was looking at other artists, and they don't just stop the flowers where they end. You can often see bits coming up off, of the color that the thing is, but elsewhere in the painting. I thought it was really beautiful. Where's that going there like that? Then a bit of a shadow in there. Shadow in there. Get more of the shadow stuff and stick it down the back of that one. There. And let's get some sort of lighter tones in that sort of rosy structural way. Crikey, some green got into that. That's not what I wanted at all. There's going to be some hours of cleaning up to do after this one, I can tell you, lads. Now, more yellow. I tell you, use a lot of paint. I'd say you go through in a couple of paintings, maybe 3 paintings, you probably go through a whole one of those 37mm tubes. Some bright red. Yes, so probably I would expect you'd want to be using more Winton than artist's quality for this. Where else do I see that? Put on there, that's okay. Okay. All right, let's move back onto the Yalla flowers. Okay, so there are some darks, but they're dark. Where's that? There's the yellow, and there's the dark of the yellow, but it's actually warmer. It's a warmer dark yellow. In there, and the side of that one. In there. Okay, so it's really, really bright. Gosh, I need some more white now. That might help you actually. You know, having your painting dry a bit quicker is just for the white, use Griffin alkyd, and that contains liquid already, so you don't need to mix liquid into your paint. And I suggest that even if you go out painting on plein air, you can use Griffin as the white, and that white goes into most things on your painting, and your painting will probably set more quickly. Well, it will set more quickly. Right, where was I? Yes, I want to do something with the foreground, and I want to make it warmer and lighter. That was the foreground. I think the whole idea is to be non-specific with this. And even maybe get some of those the color from around the painting and put it in there as well. Because it's the painting that matters, it's not the fidelity. You know, I keep saying that. Even in there, all right. And likewise, let's do something with the the background. I think it could be lighter. Maybe a bit more purpley. And we can sort of okay, that's better. I can put some of that background into the foreground as well. You can make it more sort of coherent. Palettes of an itchy eye. Right. Let's do a bit more here. Okay, like that. I think even maybe lighter again. Let's see what an orange would look like. It's just an experiment. Just for a bit of variation in the background. Now tipping off the ridges of the other paint, and even down here. Lose that sort of horizon. Now I'm going to do a bit more around the flowers as well. Around them, so it's kind of like a dark around them to hopefully sort of show them up as more bright or brighter, as supposed to say in English. There's my ultramarine blue there. More ultramarine blue. More red. Make it fairly solid dark. Okay, so around the stalk. Okay, and in here. There's no need to actually start describing leaves, really. Not when you're using a palette knife. It's just you'll frustrate yourself, and it's better if you don't. I'm going to put a dark along there just to. Okay, and a dark up there, which I've lost. In there. Right, and back to our lighter flower. No, sorry. Yeah, no, lighter leaves. Okay, so for example, there's one coming off here, which is nice. It's very nice and buttery, you know, that feeling as it placing it on. It improves as the painting goes on. Need something in there, and a few sort of and some really bright yellow's God almighty, I've got to put out some more yellow. Ugh. And a lot of white. and yellow. Which is, I suppose, the brightest bright, isn't it? And blue's gone into it. Get off. So work that in together a little bit. So unlike me, I don't know. There. Oh, there's a nice little one in there. That's good. And some kind of stalky kind of thing, but oh yeah, and I can see a little sort of light coming down there. And now some highlights. I was wrong, actually. I was wrong. The brightest brights are down here, of course, in the glass. You can see them really bright ones. So let's grab some white, some yellow, and some cadmium red in this case. Very bright, warm, golden pink. Put that one there. Put that one. Get off the bloody trowel. There. And there are others, maybe there's one like one, something like that. And maybe let's lighten that down there as well. I would maybe just a few sort of dabs around the stock. Let's see what we can get out of that, just to give it a bit more texture. Without being accurate, just going to give it a bit more.